Good evening, and welcome to another scene in the living world of darkness, rage across New York. Today, we find ourselves following Brother's judgment, Havika, uh, as he tracks down Blinds the Weaver for a few reasons. He's got an agenda, as he is looking at this glass walker. And having asked around Sept with Zelda, with more than a usual amount of gusto, uh, giving him Blinds' location uh, in the aftermath of their recent meeting. Um, Havika finds himself over on Fifth Avenue on Millionaire Mile, at a uh, set of rental condos overlooking the park. Uh, Obviously, the rent on these places is uh, very high, and Havika might suspect that the Russian mafia is paying for her stay at this particular place. Um, but he doesn't have a problem finding it. Um, it's one of these nicer upscale places, super bright, fresh painted walls, um, carpet, and warm lights down the hallway with the various condominiums on either side. Um, Only a handful of them in this building, three to a side. And so, presumably, he finds the correct number on the corner.
Havika will be a bit amazed with the surroundings. This is outside the areas he's been through with Mist. This is the most expensive place he's ever been into, and realizes that gaswalkers are burdened with the honor of keeping themselves poor, like the Nars are. It's like, and we'll knock on the door. Eyes still kind of shifting from left and right, hoping that not some type of random security might ask why he's here. He knows he sticks out a bit.
Nope. After a few moments from knocking, you hear someone yell out, "Just a minute," and then um, footfalls coming on hardwood floor to the door, which does that thing where it opens up and the chain hasn't been taken off, and Havika sees Blinds peeking out from the other side. And the second that she sees Havika, her expression, which was already just straight up neutral, if maybe a little curious, seems to fall a little bit. And she goes, "Oh, Havika."
Yeah. And he just kind of does a vague wave. I came for a house visit.
Yeah, I see that. Um, couldn't give a homie a heads up.
Well, you didn't give out your number.
She narrows her eyes. That's fair. Have trouble taking hints?
Mm, I thought we're in cooperations right now.
We are.
So I
And
lit.
she closes the door, and you hear the chain unlock. And she opens it, steps aside. Well, come in, I guess.
I thank you. Zelda told me that she talked with you for a bit, but I wanted to get the information directly from you.
Hmm. And whenever he steps inside, like in contrast to the outside hallway, the interior is super bare. There is just sort of the bare bones furniture that was already here, clearly not uh, her doing. And the entire place is just absolutely covered in like empty pizza boxes, soda cans, that kind of stuff, just like everywhere. Any kind of surface is piled up with something, whether it be like clothes or junk or whatever. Every surface is just absolutely covered, except for one corner, and the far wall is just nothing but like glass. It's just a big window, and in the corner of that, right next to the wall, is like on the floor is a super fancy computer, and the accompanying accoutrements and a beanbag, and that seems to be the only livable place like in the entire condo that you can see. There's some doors off to the side, but you dare not wonder what those rooms look like. And she kind of walks around you. She looks very much at home. T-shirt, like uh, yoga pants, that kind of stuff. Just absolutely not uh, dressed for company. She says, "Well, make yourself at home, I guess. There's beer in the fridge."
He nods as he kind of searches the room, seeing the chaos, and will just simply say, "I thought expensive places get a lot of house visits."
Not mine. You can opt out of those.
The landlord doesn't care.
Landlord gets paid.
I live in Hell's Kitchen. Even over there, the landlord will come over nearly at least once a quarter to make sure the house is not completely destroyed.
Yeah, but he and Igor have been becoming fast friends in that time, so he doesn't ask many questions. Too busy hanging out with Igor.
Igor?
Yeah, Igor.
Hmm. Okay. And as he again just kind of takes into place, and you don't feel uncomfortable here.
She quirks her brow.
Mm. Uh, I know we're more resilient than others, but don't you worry about cutting yourself on some of this trash?
I'm pretty sure I'm going to heal from tetanus.
Okay. It's your domain, not mine.
Uh huh. So now that you're in my domain, what do you want?
So you don't have to complete the whole story if you don't want to. I'm interested in if you know anything about this Molossia.
She, whenever you ask that, she sort of like rolls her eyes in this just absolute, like this absolute look of exasperation rolls over her and says, "You went and got my address from Zelda just so you could come here and ask me the same thing that I already told her."
Did I not just say I wanted to get it directly from you? And I have other questions too.
Why would my version be any different from hers?
Because telephone is an interesting game.
You were face to face.
And he stopped himself from rolling his eyes, and then he continues. That's why I also said if you want to make it shorter, go ahead. I'm very sure you talked to, as you just confirmed, you talked to Zelda about this.
Okay. All right. So the long and short of our friend Malazia is no, I have not managed to break her encryption yet. I'm working on it. It's very hard. Spirits are fickle, as you well know. And when they're helping with cybersecurity, it can get really, really messy. And one has to be very, very careful. So, no, I haven't broken her security yet. As to Malazia herself, I did some digging. It's really, really, really difficult to find old Russian newspapers. You wouldn't think so, but it is. But apparently, back in 2000, 2002, something like that. She was a kinfolk and got claimed, she does air quotes on claimed, with a bunch of other kinfolk because after the Berlin Wall fell and the Soviet collapse, things were a little chaotic in the motherland, uh, and Garu were, um, let's say, easily swayed to fight each other as they were the worm back then, um,
And
carving out their little empires.
I was told when the Union fell, definitely for the Shadow Lords, things became complicated.
Sure. So this Glasswalker, uh, apparently very well thought of among his peers in the set, scooped up all of these homeless kinfolk, so to speak. Not actually homeless, but you know what I mean. And kept them imprisoned. Did some really fucked up experiments and the like. Apparently, as far as the humans knew, one night she took a shotgun and blew his head off while he was asleep. Got that way because apparently she had become his favorite due to the success of the cybernetic experiments that he had been doing on her. As you know, she has an interest in those things. Um, that's probably where it stemmed from, and that's where hers came from. As far as the police knew, they didn't really know anything about any of that. She just murdered him, an abusive relationship, something like that. Some excuse to rationalize it. Anyway, she was found with several of the other kinfolk uh, that had been strangled that night, and she confessed to murdering them without much prompting. Not all of them, but a few. Some were rescued, some weren't. Uh, yeah, so after she was arrested and put on trial, and fortunately for her, capital punishment had been outlawed in the year before this happened. So she was sentenced to life in prison. Um, they, well, Guru from the nearby Sept went to clean up the mess at the Glasswalker's place, found his remnants that the police couldn't find, the experiments and all that. And this is from Glasswalker Net, a dark corner of it that I managed to find. Someone had put up there uh, what they found, and it was some fetish level uh, cybernetics, probably from the cyber realm, if I had to guess. Um, Cutting edge at the time, probably lacking by today's standards if you were to go there. Um, while in prison, they interrogated her, and she had mentioned that she had been let up because her body wasn't rejecting the cybernetics, so treated her something like a pet. She was allowed upstairs, and she used her skills to get into his weapon stash and did the deed. And so the Garu tried to fix the problem by hiring off some inmates to do it on the sly to take her out, and they failed spectacularly, and she escaped after a bear attack in Siberia in the prison, if you can believe that. What had actually happened was apparently she had her first change and slaughtered the guards and disappeared into the Siberian wilderness. And that's really all the Garu were able to find, all the nation was able to find, because something about her, likely the cybernetics, makes her impossible to track through gifts. At least that's my guess.
Havika nods to the information and kind of puts a hand under his chin, thinking for a moment. And he will respond, and he says, from gifts, from any type of gift that can find her.
Rights, gifts, any type of spiritual tracking.
Hmm. Well, that means she can't be spiritually trapped, but there might be a way to do physically, but that's not a concern for me right now. I appreciate you telling me this.
Well, you could have found half that story yourself if you can read Russian and have access to Google. The
Yeah,
Glasswalker net part be a little harder, admittedly.
he nods. So, I can do those things, and I didn't. So you're all right.
You're dealing with somebody that has never been a part of the nation, except as a kinfolk, and as you can see, that did not go well for her. So,
She has reasons to work with the solid. The solid, regardless of personal gain. This can just easily be a personal vendetta for her.
well, like I said, during the trial, when asked why she killed those other kinfolk, uh, she answered because it was fun. So, doesn't sound like she's changed too much over her many years on the lam.
That's a whole psychological minefield I don't even want to deal with. I also have another question. We've been dealing with this situation for several months. Is there anything
Uh,
else that you may have found or been working on?
she gives him a curious look.
Hmm? Well, I'm just curious as he kind of looks around. You live in a very nice house. Like, whether that's through your own gains or through your relationship with another party. He said, you must be doing something to earn this house.
My my alpha is a very wealthy lady, and that in turn makes me a very wealthy lady.
Let's see. So, with you living in a comfortable environment,
Uh huh.
so what else have you been doing?
Working on this encryption.
And just that, nothing else.
Uh, Masturbating? Like, what are you asking about? Are you trying to interrogate me on my doing when I am here to help you of our own volition? We don't work for you, Havika.
Um, you don't. I'm just simply asking. He obviously looks a bit flustered with her last comment. And I have another question for you.
Oh, goody.
Hmm. You know what a web walker is?
She tilts her head. Why do you ask?
I'm curious.
She smirks. And what would you need in that vein with that line of questioning?
I've been learning some interesting things these past months. People have been, despite how you may feel about this particular statement, have been curious about my people of late.
Uh huh.
And I thought I would share their curiosity in kind. I've noticed also through the several months I've been here, and especially when dealing with Malasia, of recently, despite how veteran some of our members can be, they aren't well versed in the ways of modern society.
And
I don't wish to have that disadvantage.
okay.
And I came here for a potential student of tutoring in that particular way.
Ugh. Tutoring. Like you want me to teach you how to get on the internets? Is that so? What we're talking about here?
He has a dry smile on his face. No, I'm not a complete idiot. I've been doing self training for a bit now. But having training from the from the pure source would be the most efficient way to be teaching me.
She gives him a wary look. I see. So, you want to use me in a way in which you can curry some favor with your camp. Is that what I'm getting at? Is that right?
We're known to working with each other, and you are potentially available, and you are also the most seasoned glasswalker that I've ever met.
Well, that's certainly pathetic. If I am the most seasoned glasswalker you have ever met.
And he simply says, I have no reason to lie to you. Not unless you want to include Malasia being a better glasswalker than you are.
Malazi is not a glasswalker. Malazi is a Ronin. Never was a glasswalker, except his kin. Don't look so long, Havika. Look, I'm not above teaching you, or below, for that matter, but where I come from, up north, we, well, services rendered need payment.
He nods to that. What is your price?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
Mm.
Give me some time. I'll give it some thought.
He nods to that. And I believe the final question for me today is this. You have connection to the mafia, the Russian mob, correct?
Something like that.
They have any, let's just say, wayward children that they need put in line?
Sweetheart, this is New York. We run out of Boston. As far as we're concerned, anybody in New York needs sorting out.
They don't necessarily need to be sorting out. Maybe just be put under different management.
Hmm. For what purpose for you?
Protection.
Protection.
These days have been more dangerous than us, and I would like to have more personal protection for my assets.
And your first thought is the fucking mafia?
I assume that they have people they don't care for, they don't like. That means they won't be too upset when they go missing. They typically already understand the acts of violence. They're also typically a superstitious and fearful lot.
And that makes them desirable to you for protection?
I don't need them to be complicated. I just need them to be simple. Follow orders, do what they ask them to do. So,
Well, honey, that is a very naive view on criminality. The ones that get caught might be a little dumb. The ones that don't stay that way because they're more than a little clever. That shit's dangerous. Now, my boss does owe the Sept a teensy weensy favor, and she might be willing to work with you on that. I'll have to ask.
it's it'd be much appreciated if she can make an opportunity for me.
Mm. She gives him a like her eyes sort of narrow, but she grins, says, "Ooh, there's something dark in you, my friend."
A lot of people keep telling me that.
Mm. Well, I'll see what I can do. Is there anything else? You're gonna have me stand around in my pajamas all day, entertaining you.
Uh, and he simply says, "It's like obviously, if you didn't think this was somewhat mutual, you wouldn't be doing it."
I felt pity for you, standing on my doorstep.
So you did at least feel something.
Mm. The only thing I feel is the pain in my ass from both you and Zelda asking me for things.
You could always say no.
I'm not going to say no to someone asking me for a fostering challenge. What kind of Garu would I be?
That he was not expecting to hear. And, but he nods. Well, if you ever feel that you're willing to show some mercy to me, and he brings out a notepad and writes down something and rips it off and flips over and hands it to her. Give me a call. Or tap
Sure.
that'd make it more easy.
What?
or a text. I've been reading up on people, and from your disposition, it might be easier to send me a message and that can talk to me.
Hmm, maybe. I'll think about it.
So please do.
Might just send a pattern spider to go bug you while you do something else in the Ember.
That'd be actually appreciated. Eventually, I need to get used to the weaver spirits.
Hmm.
Good day to you.
Bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
I'll try my best about that. And he will open the door and close it and leave.
And with that, we can end the scene. Thank you, player, for playing. Watching. Good night.